can't hear anything.
I didn't want anybody to. I asked everybody to mute. Hi, this is Dante with Suitman Productions. Thank you for showing up today. This is our inaugural show. We're doing Social Security Influencers, the SSI show. I hope you guys have had a good afternoon, good morning. We're trying to kick off your weekend and your May with something a little different. So today, sit back, grab some popcorn, grab your lunch. For those of you, you might start an early supper and just relax. We are here for about an hour or so to just give you some new, different entertainment, and I hope you have a good time with it. So let's get this show on the road, I shall say. Today, we have Charisse Savarin out of Los Angeles, California. We'll have Bruce Lipsky out of Floral Park, New York. We have Jareth Johnson out of Berwick, Maine. We have John Kasek out of, we'll just call it Texas. I don't know what the colony is. That sounds scary. We have Bill Douglas out of Concordia, New Hampshire, headlining. And everybody, if you could make some noise for the host with the most, the guy who thought this up, my new best friend. Give it up for Al Coseglia.
Good. All right.
Yay.
Let's hear it.
Right out.
Thank you, everybody. So glad to kick this off. We're certainly happy that Dante has recognized that there's a market for people our age. Some of us don't like to be called old, but we are old. We have a phenomenal show for you today, as Dante mentioned. And one of the positive things that came out of the last year is the virtual world and how we've been able to perform for the last year pretty much whenever we wanted. And it has also brought people together from all over the country. And that's why we're all here. We're from different parts of the country. We would have never met without the virtual world. So we are thankful for at least that part of the last year. And that brings me to technology. Yes, we're mostly baby boomers. And yes, everyone thinks that we completely fucked up the world. And maybe we did, but we created technology. And what is ironic is that the younger generations make fun of us because we can't handle the technology as well as them. And I hate to admit it, but when you guys were having trouble getting online, it upset me. So I guess I'm a technology elitist or a technology Illuminati. But anyway, I say to all of them, eat shit and die. We're doing the best we can with technology. I do collect Social Security because I'm 70, damn it. I'm not happy about it. I mean, who would be? I love being 69. It was fun. It was funny. I could tell 69 jokes. You know what I love about 69? Woodstock, and I was 19.
Wow.
Yes. Youth, right? College, pot, psychedelics, free love. Yeah, I saw the first three. Never saw the free love. I missed that whole free love thing. I'm vaccinated, doubly vaccinated, and I'm very fortunate. And the reason is because I'm old. Yes. But with being old comes other things. Heart disease, I got it. Artificial hip, yeah, I got it. ED, yeah, I got it. I've been married twice and I have 100% divorce rate. Ex-wife number 2 just got remarried, and I saw her father commented on the Facebook post, "May you have everlasting joy and happiness." It's her 3rd marriage. And I saw the guy on Jeopardy got in trouble for, they accused him of doing a white power sign with his 3 fingers, but that's just the number 3. And her father probably should have said, "May you have everlasting joy and happiness until 2025, 26, maybe 27. Both ex-wives are married now, and my name's Al. They married Al knockoffs. One is married to Alan, the other Alejandro.
Hmm.
A lot of red flags, a lot of red flags. Alan is a communist. Alejandro is a bullfighter. Think about that. Just retired. They're calling it termination. So I had to find something to do. I joined the senior center in Allen, Texas. And I'm happy to say it's a meat market. So it took me 50 years to find free love, but it's out there. I'm Al Coseglia. Peace out. We have a great show for you. Please join us. We're going to be telling jokes about slide rules and transistor radios and variety shows, the Weather Channel, everything we love. And first up from the beautiful state of California and Los Angeles, she's very funny. I'm excited she's here. Charisse Savarin.
Hello.
Yay.
Hello. Well, I'm happy to be here. And if you guys like me, great. And if you don't, that's fine too. You know why? Because I am finally at an age where I feel comfortable in my own skin. You know why I feel comfortable in my own skin? Because it's loose. I thought being a loose woman was going to be fun. By the way, how old do you think I am? Time's up. And I got to say, we're just not treated properly. You know the way they say age is just a number? Well, guess what? Sometimes it's the wrong goddamn number. And I got to tell you, things are different. Like men don't pay attention the way they used to. A lot of us women, you know what's happening? We're either becoming lesbians or getting involved in dog rescue, And I don't know, I've been around the block only once because I'm lazy. And I don't know, but hell, things don't change. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. I'm sure you elderly people like me have heard of the Kennedys. Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but the patriarch of the family was Joseph, and Rose was a matriarch. And they were known, the Kennedys, for cheating on their women like crazy. In fact, I think they kept condoms in their hair. Okay. And I don't know if you know this, but Rose was in bed with him while he was having a stroke. And darned if she didn't rush to the phone. Having a stroke, are we, honey Joseph, after cheating on me and humiliating me for 50 years? I'd love to call 911, but that phone looks so far away. Having another stroke, are we, honey? One was never enough for you, was it? I am still looking for therapy. Anyone here know of a therapist who will let me post-date my checks until I'm cured? Well, what? And right now, I tell you something. A lot of men, like it's too late for me to have a sugar daddy now because they're all diabetic. And I would like to mention, though, that I was married. Yes.
Yay.
2.5 years.
All right.
That's a long time if you break it down into half-hour segments. And I would like to end this on a tragic note. Is that okay? Because my ex-husband, he loved me so much, and you can't blame him. We were lying in bed one night. It was a water bed. I don't know. For some reason, he preferred me dizzy. And he loved me so much. He said to me, Charisse, I adore you. If you leave me, I'm going to kill myself. And I said, you know what, honey? If you kill yourself, I'll stay. Thank you. My name's Charisse.
Yay.
Let's hear it for Charisse. Charisse Savarin from Los Angeles, California.
Yes.
We think you're young, Charisse. We think you're young and wonderful and funny, and we're glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Elle. You're adorable.
But did you know Rose Kennedy?
I didn't know her, but you know what else she did? She went and played golf.
Well, he was having a stroke.
Yes. Well, he
That's
was
my kind
there.
of-
She went,
Yeah, that's my kind of woman.
yeah. Another stroke. Giving strokes, golf strokes. But one
You don't
stroke.
want him, you don't want him to care about you too much.
No.
All right, thank you, Charisse. Let's hear it for Charisse Savarin. Thank you, Charisse.
Yay.
All right, next up, I was born and raised in New York, and we have a fellow New Yorker. He's funny. I mean, really funny. I've seen a lot of his material. You are in for a treat. He's from Floral Park, New York. Bruce Lipsky.
Yay.
Hey, thank you very much. To show you how the times have changed, I graduated high school in the early 1970s. Bayside High School, Queens, New York, public school. In order to graduate gym class, we had to take swim class.
What's your robe thing?
But our swim class, we had to swim naked. So the first day I got to class, I asked the teacher, I said, "Where's my Speedo?" He looked at me and said, "Speedo, how about Speed No?" He said, "Son, your birthday suit's gonna be your bathing suit." I said, "Oh, hope you don't teach woodshop."
Yeah.
I remember the first day I got to class, I was like, among all my classmates over here, I said, "Wait a second, this is like four skinny dipping." I was 14 years old. I barely had eyebrows. I thought this was a pilot for the show Naked and Afraid. And believe me, I was naked and very afraid. And during class, we used to play water polo. Yeah, water polo. And I'd be on the corner of the pool and the teacher would be yelling, "Hey, Lipsky, protect your nets, protect your nets." I'd say, "To hell with that. I'm too busy trying to protect my nuts." And I'll tell you, it was an interesting class because, I actually turned into an excellent one-handed swimmer. And in competitions, I always held my own. But the neat thing about this class, it gave me a lot of confidence with the ladies, especially once I learned the breaststroke behind the bleachers with Mary Lou Zabrinsky. Fast forward, I just turned 65 years old. Everybody claps 65 years old. I looked in the mirror, I looked like a rusted old Buick. Nothing could be buffed out. Body is totally out of alignment. Some young kid looked at me the other day and said, "You look like an oxidized relic." I tell you, my rear end is making funny sounds, my hoses are leaking, and my ball joints have all dried up. I said, "Oh, I better get Mako." Mako says, "Oh no, you better get Medicare." I was at my doctor's the other day, and I said, "Doctor, I'm really having a tough time in the morning." I said, "The only thing that starts up me every day in the morning is my wife." It used to be if I had a leak in my house, I'd call my plumber. Now I call my urologist. And he's $50 cheaper. I remember back in the day, Charisse and I would go to the discotheque, Studio 54. We'd get on the dance floor and go bust a move. I'm afraid to take my wife dancing. And they bust a hip. And I'm starting to forget things. I swear my foam mattress has a better memory than I do. I'm at the stage in my life where I change the batteries in my nose hair trimmer more often than I do on my TV remote. And during COVID, I watched a lot of TV. And I've gone from Vitalis to Cialis. It's tough getting old. It really is. But you got to stay in shape. I started an exercise program. But I only exercise between the hours of 3 and 5 in the morning. I'm running sprints from the bedroom to the bathroom. My wife calls it my fleet of pee. Good news is I got my time down under 6 seconds. But unfortunately, I can only hold my pee for 4.2. And my wife is a fitness nut. Takes goat yoga. Yeah, goat yoga. She finds it very therapeutic and relaxing, especially when the goat jumps on the back and licks her ears. I said, "Wait a second. How come when I tried that last week, you slapped me and threw me out of the bedroom? And now you're paying a goat to do it?" She said, "Well, he's got great technique and fresher breath." So I asked her, "Do they allow kids in the class?" She says, "No, they only use adult goats." But my wife is an amazing lady. We just celebrated our anniversary. 30 years of wedded bliss. Oh, no, wedded blisters. That's because all these years we were rubbing me the wrong way. And I got the calluses to prove it. I tell you what, before I met my wife, I dated a lot. I even dated a very famous TV weather person. But the first time we got intimate, it was like a bad winter forecast. She was predicting 10 to 12. And all she got was 2 to 4. Man, was she angry. Now I know why they named hurricanes after women. It's tough, man. But my wife is a beautiful lady. But she spent so much money. She went crazy during this pandemic. The Amazon. We get so many Amazon packages, they just reach on my front porch as a loading dock. I got boxes stacked up to the roof. Every time I go out, I'm afraid to pull something out. It's like I'm playing a game of Jenga for giants. Going from the living room to the second floor, to the third floor, and back down. I'm like a personal delivery monkey per Amazon Primate. And it was my birthday, so she said, what would you like? I said, how about a forklift? And the other day, she's painting in the driveway, big yellow letters, reserved for UPS. I said, what's going on over here? Then I realized I think she's having an affair with the UPS guy. She's constantly bragging about how big his package is. And now she insists on only a backdoor delivery. I know what Brown's doing for her, but what's he doing for me? And she handed me a package the other day. She said, open it up, I got a surprise for you. It was a pair of construction boots, brown shorts, and a clipboard. She said, now we're going to do some fantasy role play. So now every time I have sex, I got to sign for it. This is making my family life miserable. The only smiles in my house now are the ones in the cardboard boxes. But we love doing things together, my wife and I. Broadway shows, nice dinners, the UPS guy. Got to keep it fun in the sun here, I'm telling you. But going with his spending, recently she bought a designer dog. Designer dog spent $6,000 on this dog. He carries him around like a Gucci handbag. Except the Gucci handbag only costs $3,000. And I'd rather have the handbag. At least it doesn't need to be walked 6 times a day. Or it doesn't pee in your bed. I said, how can you spend $6,000 on a dog? She said, well, he's got his papers. He's got his kennel club papers. I said, the only papers I've seen are the ones he's been peeing on. And I'm the one cleaning them up. And we went to a breeder. Oh boy, if anybody's ever adopted or bought a dog from a breeder, they ask 100 questions. References, financial records, arrest records. I said, what am I buying a dog or being interviewed by the CIA? He's named the dog Fabio. Yeah, Fabio. She dresses him in silk pajamas and a gold collar. I don't call him Fabio. I call him Houdini. Because 2 wags of his tail, he's made my sex life completely disappear. Now sex is just a grand illusion without the handcuffs. You know how hard it is to perform in bed when there's a panting, wet tongue, smell of bad breath, and 4 legs, and a dog? Plus now he's trying to give me pointers. I was so embarrassed. He says, no, now put the leeching collar on and get on all 4s. I tell you, when we got this dog, I swore he wouldn't be staying in my bedroom. So the first night he's in my living room in a crate and he's crying and crying. And my wife is in bed. Oh, we're the worst pet parents in the world. We're terrible people. The next night, the dog is in my bedroom with the crate. Same thing. Oh, we're such terrible pet parents. The third night, guess what? The dog is in the bed and I'm the one crying at the edge of the bed and in his crate. And he's taken over my bed. He lays on my side of the bed, on my pillow, next to my wife, snoring and farting. I've been doing that for the last 30 years. That's my job. Now I'm starting to wonder who the man of the house is. I'm afraid to kick him out of bed. I may get bitten, scratched, and growled at by my wife. And I got the only dog with restless leg syndrome. I haven't slept in 2 weeks. Constantly getting kicked and jabbed. My wife says, how do you know it was the dog? The way she treats this dog, I tell you, she put him on the science diet. Me, she put on the science fiction diet. Served me canned spaghetti and meatballs. All I know is the more canned food she serves me, the more time I spend in the can. And this dog, I'm telling you, he just had his physical. His cholesterol's 37 points below mine. He's not walking around with pre-diabetes. But I guess the good news is we both tested negative for fleas. But I tell you, she is a lovely lady, my wife. You know, during this whole pandemic, I tested positive for the coronavirus. Yeah, last March. Thank you. Last March, I tested positive.
Wow.
Sex was out of the question because we were quarantined. My wife cut up one of her Victoria's Secret black lace bras and made masks out of it. Thankfully, she's a double D, or else it would have never fit over this Jewish nose. But in closing, I just want to tell you, I have 90-year-old parents. And my father, I think, is starting to lose it. He thinks stand-up MRI is a comedy club. I had to take him to the hospital for some tests the other day. So we're in the elevator, and the technician wheels in this machine with all these tubes and hoses. My father looks at him and says, "Mister, you're not going to hook me up to that machine today, are you?" The guy says, "I hope not for your sake. It's a carpet cleaner." Thank you. That's my time. My name is Bruce Lipsky.
Yay.
All right, let's hear it for Bruce.
Yay, Bruce.
Thank you.
Bruce, fantastic. You mentioned Vitalis. Holy cow. How about Brill Cream? High Karate. Matus. Yeah, bring back all those memories. And I love Mako. That's a East Coast reference. But thank you, Bruce. Wonderful job. Let's hear it for Bruce Lipsky.
Thank you.
And
That's
boy, we know a lot about your wife now, Bruce. All right, let's get on with the show. Let me go back for a second. You see, Woodstock was in 1969, and I was 19. All right, wasn't funny the first time, certainly not funny the second time. All right, my buddy, he co-hosts the Ye Olde Mike with me. He is very funny. He is from the great state of Maine. Here he is from Berwick, Jareth Johnson.
Yeah, Baba. Thanks for that great introduction, Al. Oh, well, you know, I used to be a long haul truck driver. And, you know, they talk about a slight delay in traffic, and it really depends on what part of the country you're in. For example, if you're in New York City, a slight delay in traffic is when you sit on the Cross Bronx Expressway trying to get on the George Washington Bridge for 5 or 6 hours. I'll tell you, I've done that a few times. Or let's say you're up around Boston. A slight delay in traffic is when you sit on 128 for an hour or so waiting to move. I've done that more times than I can count. But that's why I like it way up here in Maine. It's nice and quiet. There's not a lot of traffic. Slight delay in traffic is when I've got to sit and wait 15 minutes for a flock of turkeys to walk across the road. But I tell you, I don't mind, because the biggest, fattest turkey to cross the road is going to be my supper. But I'll tell you, when I go down to DC to visit Uncle Joe, there's an awful lot of turkeys crossing the road down there. They're all running afoul. You know, those DC turkeys, they go bad awful fast.
There's supposed to be another pad on here.
They're almost all white meat, too.
I know, but there's supposed to be another pad on here.
We got hecklers. Another job I had, I drove long haul and used to fuel up my truck at Pilot Truck Stop. It was the cheapest fuel, but I hated it. That one in Sturbridge was by far the worst. He'd pull in and he'd wait in line 30 to 45 minutes just to get up to the fuel pump. And then after I get my fuel, I got to go inside and wait another 30 minutes just to sign for my fuel receipt. So what I used to do is I'd go in and get 3 or 4 hot dogs, you know, fill up my 500-mile coffee mug, which you can't see. There we go. And then I'd get in line and I'd eat the hot dogs and I'd drink my coffee. And when I got to the register, If I had any coffee or hot dogs left, I'd pay for them. Well, you know, I did that for about 1,000,000 miles, and I never had to buy any hot dogs or coffee at Pilots, except for one time. And I'll tell you what that one time was. I pulled in and there was like no traffic. I don't know why. It was just a quiet day. Everybody stayed home. Maybe it was Easter. Pulled right up to the pump, got my fuel, went right inside, and there was nobody in there. So I went right over and got my hot dogs and coffee, walked right up to the counter, and my receipt was right there. I signed it, turned around, started to walk out, and the lady says, "Hey, $19.95 for that hot dogs and coffee." I said, "Son of a bitch, I didn't bring any cash with me. I never bring cash inside." So I says, "Hang on a minute, I got to eat these." So I sat there and ate all the hot dogs right in front of her and drank all the coffee, ran out the door as quick as I could. Oh, I'll tell you, my rig had Sirius satellite radio. And, you know, I even had the Playboy channel, but not for the articles, just for the pictures. You know, seriously, though, I used to listen to hard rock. Now I listen rock hard. Thanks, Sirius. And that was when I got my first distracted driving ticket. You know, that cop thought I was drunk, swerving all over the road. I says, "No, sir, officer. I was just trying to choke that chicken crossing the road." Well, I'll tell you something about comedy. I haven't had a problem with the pandemic. I did about 150 or more Zoom shows last year. This is my 88th show tonight, and I love Zoom. Zoom is like hospice for comedians when you're not doing well and you prefer to die at home. Thank you. I'm Jareth Johnson.
All right, Jareth Johnson, let's hear it for him. Love the truck stories. Brings back memories of what was the song that was popular in the 70s, maybe?
Convoy.
Convoy, yes.
Breaker 19, this here's Rubber Duck. You get a copy on me, Big Pen, come on.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you,
Sakes
Jareth.
alive. Keep them bugs off your bumpers and the bears off your tails.
All right, let's hear it for Jareth Johnson, the truck driving comic. All right, as Dante mentioned, we'll be doing a show on the first Saturday of August and November, just like today. But I don't know the dates because I'm just happy I can remember today's May 2nd.
It is?
Yeah.
No, it's not. But this audience believes me. All right, we're going to flash back because not only do we have comedy, we have music, like the Ed Sullivan Show, the variety show, the old variety show. I'm waiting for Topo Gigio to come out. But in the meantime, we've got a great musician. He is from the Colony, which is the name of a town, not a cult. From the Colony, Texas, John Kasek.
Yay!
Hey. Yes, I am from the Colony. And I'm in that magical age group, like all of you folks are, where I had to lock myself in the house for about a year and wait out the pandemic and hope for a vaccine. So while I was locked up, I wrote 46 songs, one song each week that I was locked down. So I'm going to play a couple of those songs for you today. The first one I'm going to play is it's called Pandemic Meditations, and it's from week 27, which was about halfway through that year of pandemic. People complete the world. What would we be without them? A beautiful empty place without any women or men. No one to enjoy the sunsets, no one to watch the rain, no one to feel the joy, no one to feel the pain. And I would never know what it means to be alive, just a spinning ball in space, waiting for the children to arrive. The earth waited billions of years for the people to arrive. Though it's been 6 million years, we're all still fighting to survive. Through the wars that we won and lost, through earthquakes and hurricanes, through sickness and plagues, the human race still remains. I never realized how much I needed other people in my life, as I'm locked up inside, waiting for a vaccine to arrive. It's a sad, sad situation, being afraid of the world outside, backing away from conversations to go inside and hide, stocking up on food and drinks and paper products too, limiting the times we leave our homes to only just a few. After 6 months of this lifestyle, it all seems so wrong, but at least it gave me time to sit down and write this song. At times like this we see how fragile life can be. It's sad to think that now the most important thing is me. Thinking deep thoughts, trying to understand the meaning of life itself. Wondering what this isolation has done to my mental health. I'm just focused on the future, when this pandemic finally ends, when I can walk out among the people standing together again. And people complete the world, what would it be without them? A beautiful empty place without any women or men. No one to watch the sunsets, no one to watch the rain, no one to feel the joy, and no one to feel the pain. And I would never know what it means to be alive, just a spinning ball in space, waiting for the children to arrive.
Yay.
Those were some of my pandemic meditations. I've got another song I'm going to do for you. This one is the last COVID-19 song that I wrote on week 46. It's called The Next Chapter. The pages they turned in this book called America. Through the good times and the bad, this land still survives. Each woman and man has a story to tell of the role that they played while they were alive. Chapter upon chapter as time moves along, never slowing, never stopping, like a never-ending song. Days of pride, days of shame, days of sorrow, days of pain. Though the people may be gone, all these chapters will remain. Though history repeats itself, so it may seem, and in spite of all our knowledge, the results seem the same. 100-year pandemic is upon us again. But after almost a year, we're still losing this game. Chapter upon chapter as time moves along, never slowing, never stopping, like a never-ending song. Days of pride, days of shame, days of sorrow, days of pain. Though the people may be gone, all these chapters will remain. The present chapter of hate and division must end. If we can all join together, this page is ready to turn. I hope this new chapter will bring us back to the light, with a new lesson in unity, if we're ready to learn. Chapter upon chapter as time moves along, never slowing, never stopping, like a never-ending song. Days of pride, days of shame, days of sorrow, days of pain. Though the people may be gone, all these chapters will remain. If one person can turn us against them, then united we can bring us together as one. It'll take a lot of time and a lot of deep breaths as we all join together and write chapter 2021. Chapter upon chapter as time moves along, never slowing, never stopping, like a never-ending song. Days of pride, days of shame, days of sorrow, days of pain. Though the people may be gone, all these chapters will remain.
Woo! Beautiful,
The
John.
next chapter is better than this last one.
Beautiful, John. Loved it. I
Thanks
had
a
the
lot.
pleasure of hearing most of John's songs over the course of the last year, and he does have a YouTube channel. So go and check out his music on his YouTube channel, John.
Yeah, I've got them all recorded out there on the YouTube.
And John and I are we're in a race to see who can get the most YouTube subscribers. I think he hit double digits. I have not yet.
Yeah, just barely.
Yeah. Thank you, John. That was beautiful. Let's hear it for John Kasek.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
We have had a great show so far. It's been wonderful. We are going to top it off with my favorite teacher. The first time I met him, I asked him how many elements on the periodic table, because when I went to school, there were, I think, 80. It's like 120 now. And he knew it off the top of his head because he's a science teacher and funny. Here he is from Concord, New Hampshire, Bill Douglas.
Yay,
All right,
Bill.
thank you very much, Al. I just want to thank Dante for putting together this great show. I was very excited to be part of it. And Al, what a great host. And my good friends and fellow performers, Bruce and John and Jareth and Charisse. So happy to be part of this today. Yeah. So as Al said, I am a middle school science teacher, and I've been teaching 34 years. And when I retire, I'll miss the kids. A friend said, I know you could be a crossing guard. Yeah, right. For the last 3 decades, I've been in the classroom, and now I want a promotion to the parking lot. No, seriously, I would never be a crossing guard. I am against all forms of human trafficking. You know, 6th graders always ask why they have to learn science, but the truth is, science explains our lives. Like Newton's first law of motion says, a body at rest remains at rest until his wife notices the lawn. And that body in motion remains in motion until she goes out with friends. Then there's Vito's law, which says bodies are best disposed of at night. You know, Al, lately I've been having a hard time buckling my belt, but astronomers tell us the universe is expanding. Which I think explains why it takes me longer to walk home from the bar. You know, those of you in the back of the room, you may have to wait for that joke to reach you in your expanding part of the universe. I've taught so long, I've heard some questions 8,000 times. Like, is this going to be graded? This is a fire drill. Mr. Douglas, I can't get started on this. Did you ever have writer's block when you were in school? Not while putting my name on my paper. I even had a student say, is it okay if I make a line graph instead of a pie graph? I can't do gluten. Well, how about a bar graph? Because I could use a drink. Well, I tell you, academic standards are rising here in New Hampshire. Beginning in 2022, all 6th graders are expected to identify which of the 3 R's actually begins with an R. I had a student say, Mr. Douglas, why don't you smile more? It takes more muscles to frown than to smile. Yeah, I know. I'm working out. I'm working out how you could disappear without a trace. Oh, look, I'm smiling now. You know, my assistant principal looks like he's 12. In fact, when I started teaching, he wasn't even a gleam in the eye of his mom's personal trainer. Well, anyway, he evaluated me last week and he said, Bill, you're falling behind the times technologically. Al, I was so ticked, I wanted to jab him with my quill pen. He didn't know I just oiled my typewriter, waxed my abacus. See if I share my film strips with the younger teachers. I think if I didn't teach science, I'd work for a newspaper. Here's some headlines I'd love to write. Bully swears he was laughing with victim. New study, getting hit with Mack truck no worse than other brands. Dentist submits to cavity search. Lazy Boy sponsors Stop Activism Now. Coma patient's decision to pull the plug, not a conscious one. And husband of murder victim says yes. Chalk outline does make her look fat. So my son's in art school and it's expensive. So I needed some extra money. And I surprised everybody by landing a modeling job with the Department of Transportation. You've all seen pedestrian crossing signs, right? That's me. You know, my son was home from art school and I asked him a question about color wheels. He said, you know, Dad, you could just Google that. In fact, you've been asking me a lot of questions lately you could just Google. Oh, is that right? Maybe I should Google more. Maybe I should Google where you're coming up with 80 grand for art school next year. Or I could Google how you're going to afford to take 60-minute showers once you graduate with that art degree. Now, my son hates that joke. In fact, he said, I respectfully ask you not to tell it. I said, okay, you write a better one and I'll stop. Still waiting. So when I got together with a friend last weekend in Rhode Island, I drove 2 hours to see him and he rode a train 3 hours. I said, this is so exciting. We're finally trying out that math story problem from 8th grade. Now, if we can just solve for X, we might figure out why your wife left you. So I think if you think about it, marriage is like one long, continuous story problem. Bill's wife spends $125 on hairstyling. He complains. She then finds the receipt for Bill's golf league. How many times must Bill unwind his 8-iron before he can A, breathe, and B, call the florist? I'd like to point something out to all of you. I hate going to the doctors. I get nervous and I say stupid things. Like one time there's this new nurse, Mike Orzakowski. Hi, Mike. Oh, Polish? Want to hear a good Polak joke? What? No, this guy goes into a bar, orders a beer. He asks the bartender if he wants to hear a Polak joke. Bartender straightens up and goes, I don't know. I'm Polish. The two guys over there playing pool, rather large gentlemen, Polish. And how about the guy, fire chief here, end of the bar, Polish. So do you really want to tell that Polak joke of yours? Guy's like, no, you're right. I don't have time to explain it 4 times. Well, Mike, the nurse, isn't even smiling. He just says, the doctor will be right in. Doctor comes in, checks everything out, and he goes, you're all set. You just need a tetanus shot. I'll send somebody right in. So in walks Mike with a needle, 2 feet long, rusty. I've got a shot for Mr. Douglas. But first, would you like to tell me another Polak joke? I was a slow learner growing up when it came to religion. In fact, I got held back. I had to go to Monday school. My veterinarian went to a combination vet school and Bible college. He majored in neuterotomy. So Satan is in Moscow and he gets mugged. They take all his clothes. So he grabs a newspaper, covers up and runs. People stare. Hey, the devil wears Pravda. So I walked by this Baptist church and it had a sign out front that said, Jesus is good news for all people. Phone 224-6500. Jesus has a local number? Hello, Jesus, this is Bill. Yeah, I know. I got 3 wishes. 3 wishes. Who am I, the genie in Aladdin? No, I'm kidding, my son. The answers to your questions are yes, no, and are you out of your fucking mind? A word about my cat jumping on the counter. Bad. I've been working on animal sounds I'd like to share. Meow. Cat. Cow. And the one I'm most proud of. Turtle. I've got questions and Google doesn't always have answers. Like when an insomniac tells you they'll sleep on it, how long do you wait for their answer? What's another word for synonym? Isn't it ironic that open casket funerals are supposed to provide closure? Before Thomas Edison, what did cartoon characters do when they had really good ideas? Lit candle? If dating classy women can get you a round of applause, will trashy women get you the clap? Yeah, I hate being 56. Things just appear on my body. Strange things, unappealing things. You think your backyard has mole problems? I wake up with fully formed moles. I swear that were there the night before. I mean, why can't cool things grow on me? Like single malt scotch. Hello, this is Bill. Yeah, I'm not going to be in today. No. Last night I broke out with a case of Glenlivet. Yeah, I found this bump on my back and it's growing hair. I mean, long hair. It's like a little hippie's living on me. Groovy, man. Turns out my wife doesn't like hippies. Do something with that. I'm thinking French braids. And it's even my sixth graders point out my flaws. Mr. Douglas, there's something in your hair. No, up higher. By your bald spot. 56 is not glamorous. I'm too young to be a wise elder, but old enough I need to stretch before opening the pickles. Football injury? No, Vlasics. You know what's ironic is I'm putting on some weight, but I'm still not half the man my wife wants me to be. In fact, I'm not half the man I once was. So I went to the doctor. I always have to have regular blood work because I'm diabetic. And after my last test, he said, that's some good news and bad news. Your sugar is good, but your son is not yours. Doc, what's the bad news? Before my wife and I were married, her minister sent us compatibility surveys. Question 9, if you could change one thing about your partner, what would it be? I put down better muscle tone. You know what she put? Taller. Taller? What are you gonna do? Put me on a rack, slowly crank the handle and stretch me out? She's like, well, maybe I should. Maybe if I cranked long enough, I'd get better muscle tone. I had friends who tried crazy things on their honeymoons, you know, like cliff diving, parasailing, abstinence. My wife and I tried things on our honeymoon. I mean, we busted out the Kama Sutra. Didn't get past the intro. Wow, people must have been flexible back then. And where are we supposed to find an elephant? Our honeymoon marked some firsts for me. First time using a bellboy. Yeah, those 4 garbage bags are ours. Hefty, hefty, hefty. It was the first time taking my wife to a dinner with 3 different forks, and all of them were metal.
Mhm.
All in all, I was pleased with my honeymoon performance, but my wife, I thought nice guys were supposed to finish last. Hand me the Kama Sutra, I'll go find an elephant. My grandmother had 11 kids. She did not celebrate Labor Day. Oh, this time of year, I always think about my grandpa. He loved playing outdoor games with us kids. And as he got older, we adjusted him. Like after Alzheimer's, hide and seek became wander off. Local police like to join in that one. And we were able to combine 2 of his favorites. Double Dutch and hopscotch became double scotch. And eventually we had to switch from kick the can to kick the bucket. I tell you, once we did that, no one, and I mean no one, played freeze tag like Gramps. You know, they say that your life flashes before your eyes at the end. Talk about a kick in the nuts. My life was not exciting, you know? And now I got to watch reruns before passing to the great beyond. I knew there was no Santa. Green socks and Buster Browns. No wonder I didn't make the basketball team. Why didn't I ask her out? Yeah. We should be able to pick whose life flashes before our eyes. Hey, honey, want to watch reruns? Of what? My life. Can we watch something else? I always wondered what happened to my college boyfriend. You know, I wonder if animals' lives flash before their eyes. You know, adult mayflies live less than 1 day. Can you imagine that life flashing by? Hey, I remember. What about sloths? Watching their lives flash by? Has it started yet? Speaking of life flashing by, I am lucky to be here, Al, because this morning at Home Depot, I'm walking back to my car and a guy backing out of his parking space missed me by this much. Can you imagine your last picture taken with a backup camera? That's the picture I want sitting on my casket at the end. Yeah, I look like a before picture for a plastic surgeon. I tell you. All right, that's my time. Thank you very much. I'm Bill Douglas.
All right,
Hey,
Bill.
Bill.
Cheers for him. Great set, Bill. Loved it. I wanted to ask you, is there still microfiche? Do they still have that?
Geez, they probably have it somewhere, if nothing else, for movies. I suppose in the library they probably have. I don't know if it's all been computerized. All newspapers. I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
used to have to look up old magazines on microfiche, right?
I don't think we have it at school anymore, but I wonder if it exists or if it's all been transferred digitally.
They had that machine that you slid, right? Am I right about that? Is that
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Oh, because
Yep,
we're
me
all
too.
old. We're all old. You guys were sensational. What a show.
Yay!
Let's give our thanks to Dante Barnett and Suitman Productions. Fabulous
Yay!
job, fabulous
Thanks,
show.
Dante.
The next show is on August 7th. So we'll see you then. We'll be back with the Social Security influencers. What a great afternoon we had. Thank you for joining the early Old Bird special. We'll see you next time. Thank you all. Thank you, Bruce, John, Bill, Jareth, Charisse, and a big thank you to Dante. What a
Dante,
great
thank you
show.
so much. Dante,
Let's
thank
hear
you.
it, guys.
Thanks a
What
lot,
great
Dante.
job.
Thanks,
Hey,
Dante.
Thank you, everybody, for
Everybody,
tuning in. Just want to let
have a
everybody
great
know
weekend.
tomorrow, live on Suitman Productions at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll have Autastic Artists with Lyric Holman, the Neurodivergent Rebel. And then at noon tomorrow, Suitman Productions will also be having Dating with Disabilities, the first transcontinental full spectrum disability show talking about dating. Everybody has either mental or physical disabilities and or both. Thank you for our first show of the SSI show, Al Coseglia, for hosting and creating the idea, and all of our lineup. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
See
God
y'all
bless.
around.